What's up, cheeseheads? Before we get into today's podcast, we wanted to tell you about what Ethan and I have been up to in 2022. Something very exciting. It's a new product that we have launched for employee engagement called the Pool Boys. Tell them what's up.
That's right. So right here, as you can see, the Pool Boys, what we want to do is create an awesome environment for your office pools. So we're going to come in, we're going to run everything for small business owners, large business owners, basically business owners, where we want to come in, provide an awesome red carpet experience where we up the engagement, up the fun by running your office pools, whether it be March Madness. We got some fun fall offerings, whether it be college football pick'em, NFL pick'em, Survivor. We got you covered no matter what the pool is. We are your boys for it. So let's get going.
That's right. This is an employee engagement play. If you're having any trouble at all with retention or engagement or even internal communication, let the Pool Boys take a look and show you some of the products that we can offer. We shoot customized videos with these handsome fellas, and we send them to your team, and we talk trash about your people. It's so much fun. I got to tell you.
We build you up too. Don't worry. It's not just trash, but there is a lot of trash.
There is some trash. All right, guys, check us out at www.thepoolboys.net, and we're going to get into the episode now. What's up, everybody? It is your boy K-Troll on the mic. Season 2, folding the cheese. Let's go. LFG, keeping it PG in here. We are here to tell you everything you need to know about fantasy football, real football, betting on football, making that cash money. And I am joined today, as always, by the main man, my number 2, my number 1, half the time, Ethan Gelfand. What's up, brother?
I was going to say, I better be that number 1. I ain't nobody's number 2. Come on, Camp. I'm number 1.
Sidekick. I was going to call you the Byron Pringle to my Justin Fields, but I'm going to let that one. I'm going to let that one lay down for a little bit.
I am going to let you have that one. I know Justin Fields is your guy. So at least, why couldn't you give me like Darnell Mooney? I mean, he's kind of the rising star. You know, he's the number 1. So that's all I'm saying.
They've already got the chemistry going, but wait till you see my man Pringle on the field. Wait till you see it.
Okay, I guess I will be waiting. Although, let's be honest, I ain't going to be watching too many Bears games. But
you live in Lions country. You're going to see the Bears.
I'll have to see them at least twice a year. You're right.
That's an opportunity for a Lions W. You got to watch those games.
Did they split last year? I already forgot. I know they blew the first chance because they were like, this is when the Lions are going to get their first win. And then they messed that up. But did they get the second one? I can't remember.
You know what? It's been a hot minute since we saw some football, and that's why we're doing this episode today, because we got to get back into the grind here. We've got coverage on a bunch of different teams.
Yes.
And it's been a long layoff. And so we're excited to be here, but we've forgotten all the stuff.
We have literally forgotten what the NFL is. But I did see a sweet meme or whatever, but it said, now that we're in the month of August, there will be football on every month until February. I was like, yes.
God bless it.
You know, it's starting with college, but we still get NFL preseason, so that counts as something. But I was just like, that is spectacular point. So welcome back to football.
I'm at that point in the year where I'll watch training camps. I don't care. I'll watch scrimmage games of like college teams. I'm like, oh, the Pittsburgh scrimmage game is on. Yeah, gold versus blue. And I'm like, sweet, turn it on.
I will watch this.
I don't even care.
Hey, by the way, who are you rocking today?
So I have a tradition of, and you've known this pretty well. This is one of my Titans jerseys.
Yes.
I have a tradition of buying a jersey, and the player that I buy the jersey of being either cut from the team or retiring or suffering a horrific injury and never playing again for the rest of their life. And so this is Adoree Jackson from the Titans, who was a stud corner that we had. And the year after I bought this jersey, of course, they trade him away or let him go to free agency to the Giants. So this is my Adoree Jackson jersey.
I have to give you props because you don't see too many people rocking like our star cornerback. You know, it's like our star left tackle right here.
He was a stud, man. I really liked him.
That's fair.
He was a baller. I could have gone Kevin Byard. He'd probably be the bigger name in the secondary at least, but what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. What happened to Ryan Clarkson? That was my guy.
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
Anyway, moving on.
Kelly Clarkson?
I do. Oh, don't even get me started on Kelly Clarkson.
Are you rocking the Kelly Clarkson shirt right now? Wait, what are you rocking? What you got going on there?
Stranger Things, man.
Okay, all right.
This was actually season 2, although I was trying to figure out who everybody was, and I couldn't.
They all look like Yetis. Yeah.
So they're all on their bikes, but I think it was season 2, but like the characters didn't add up, so I'm not sure. But yeah, just finished Stranger Things. spectacular. You and I talked about it.
Yep.
I thought this was the final season. So like I'm watching the finale. I'm like, how are they going to wrap everything up? Are they going to get him? And then boom, nope. Whole nother season coming in. But
I know. I thought they tied up some loose ends really well this year, but to your point, they also left some room for one last epic adventure. They're gonna have to kill off some of the main characters pretty soon. I mean, they got it. These teenagers are surviving a little too much.
A little too much. I mean, really, the only one who's really been surviving too much is definitely Steve. Steve's surviving.
Oh, Steve is the best.
I love Dad Steve. He's the best, or babysitter Steve. He is the best.
Yep.
He survived too much. I mean, Mike just sucks. Let's be honest.
Mike
He sucks
sucks.
now. Will survived way too much. Obviously, he was.
What was in the Upside Down? He was possessed, for God's sake. He's been through everything.
So yes, there will be some major deaths. But
all right,
I feel like we're going to get onto that later in the year.
I was a fan of the new additions this year with Eddie and Argyle and the Russian guy. I thought they were all really good.
Argyle was so for me. He was too much of like your classic stoner trope. I was like, okay. Like, whoa.
The show kind of needed something like that, a little bit of levity.
Would you say what they tried to do with Surfer Boy Pizza is what they did with Scoops Ahoy in season 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the next brand. Can't wait.
That's true. It's like a taco truck. Like,
it's merchandise genius, really. And they're going to sell. How many Surfer Boy Pizza shirts do you think they've sold so far? I mean, they're got to be blowing it out.
I'm not going to lie. I am probably going to go name drop Kohl's. Watch out. Woo-hoo. See if they have like a Hellfire Club shirt.
Yeah, right. Every time they brand anything, look at Kate Bush. I mean, anytime they brand anything, it just blows up. So it's a marketing genius.
Can we somehow retcon the start of Fold in the Cheese that it was around in the 80s? Talk to the Duffer Brothers. Say, hey, just drop a name. It would be golden.
If you're listening to this and you know the Duffer Brothers, hook it up.
Yes, please.
Hook it up. Obviously, turn them on to our incredible content as well.
Oh, obviously. That's number one. That is number one.
We got a big show ahead of us today, E. We got to get to business because we're going to cover 2 entire divisions of NFL teams. We're going to talk about last season a little bit. We're going to preview this season for them. We're going to talk about some of the new players and the fantasy impacts of those players. Before we jump into that, I want to talk about some news around the league. We've got a couple of big, heavy hitters that got to come through here.
Before we get in, can we just acknowledge happy season 2, man? I don't think we officially
season 2.
You know, we had a great season 1, a lot of fun, learned a lot, sucked a lot at times, but we figured it out. So I'm just pumped to be back. Football's back, season 2. Let's go. So sorry, let's go back into your news right now.
Well, it's a good point because we're also on video for season 2. So if you're listening to this in your car, as you often do, or at your office, check us out on our YouTube page. What is it? YouTube.com/folding the cheese. What is it?
You're too old. Don't worry about it.
We'll link it in the show notes.
It'll be in the show notes.
It's on the YouTube.
You type on the little keyboard thing. And did you ever? Okay, real quick side note. Did you ever see? It's a kid movie. It's great. Mitchell's versus the Machines.
No.
I feel like you're the dad who knows like nothing about technology or website.
Easy.
So he's fighting these robots. He's trying to get on YouTube and he doesn't know what. Anyway, first of all, highly recommend Mitchell's versus the Machines. 1, go see it, and then 2, you're the dad.
All right. Well, I know nothing about social media, but I'm okay with technology. Just social media really throws me for a loop.
It does.
All right. So we had some pretty big news actually this weekend and into today even that I think is going to be groundbreaking. Is going to be big for the season. The biggest news, everyone's been kind of waiting to see what would happen. Deshaun Watson, it has been handed down a 6-week suspension, 6-game suspension for Deshaun Watson. So probably on the lighter end of what most people predicted at this point.
Yep.
So I guess that's, if you want to call it good news from a fantasy perspective, that's good news.
It's news.
You'll see a lot of him.
It's news.
It's news. You'll see 11 games of him this season, barring injury, on our new team in Cleveland. So we'll be interested to see what happens there. Don't really want to get into the analysis of that just yet. We'll save that for when we cover the Browns. Right. We found out today too, Alvin Kamara. It looks like, at least the news that I saw this morning, it looks like his trial is probably going to get pushed back at least 60 days. Probably season. It doesn't sound like it's actually going to happen during this fantasy season. So you're probably going to have Kamara all year long.
All year.
And I did one draft already, and I've done some mock drafts. He was kind of third. Well, he was like 3rd, 4th round, most of the time. And so now I think he's going to spring right back up. Yeah. Probably like a 2nd rounder. just in case you lose a little bit of time and some changes in the offense and coaching and all that. But pretty big news. That's pretty big news.
And I know, as you said, we'll talk about when we get to the Browns, but it will be interesting to see where Deshaun's, draft place will be. That will be interesting to talk about too.
He's tough to rank. I will tell you that too.
He
I've started
is.
my initial rankings for the season, and it's hard to think about, should I rank him knowing he's going to miss the games and what you're going to get when you get him, or do you rank him for total points? Or
well, it's like that year,
new system and everything.
It was like after Deflategate, Tommy had 4 missed games, so it's like, I mean, he's still at that year was
balled out when he came back.
Exactly.
He balled out
through all of you. I'm going to drop 80 points every week.
So true. So true. Debo got his deal. He got a 3-year, $70+ million deal. My boy Debo. So I'm happy for him. He is going to be happy and playing all season.
But Kyler, again, I know we're going to go into these guys when we do our team breakdowns, but like his biggest holdup in the offseason was that he didn't want to be a dual threat. And now he's got so many clauses in his contract about being a dual threat, and he's all jacked for it. It's like, what is going on?
It's called leverage, my man.
Is that leverage?
Ever negotiated anything before? Yeah. He's like, man, I'm not sure about running the ball. And they're like, okay, fine. We'll give you more money if you run the ball. He's like, okay, I'll take it.
But the funny thing is, if you look at it, so he had like obviously had a big year running this year. He had 380 yards on the ground. His clause, it's like if he gets over 500, it's like that's a lot of rushing yards. He ain't gonna get that.
I don't know. I mean, what is that like? How many is
in
that
the backfield? We still got Elijah Mitchell. You still got who am I blanking on?
Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
They got rid of Mostert. He's down in Miami now.
Your boy. You still can draft him, though.
Well, they got Trey Sermon is going to be rolling back out this year.
I was like the Ohio State guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only, if you think about it, it's only like 35 yards a game or so. It's not that many. So really, he could get there. I don't know. I think he could do it. Kyler got himself a deal, but he's got to watch film now. So that's like a new thing for him.
That's a new thing.
They struck that out of the deal because all the publicity was bad. But I mean, I think the point was made. Hey, Kyler, we'd like for you to study a little bit.
Yeah, your franchise quarterback. We'd like for you to actually watch film. I was listening to ESPN radio, and they're like, "What if they just loaded the entire playbook into Madden and then just simulated everything? Like, does that count?" Because they were saying like he's addicted to video games. So like, oh, just load everything up. Like, dude, this is your franchise quarterback. You're talking about putting things into a video game, but
new generation
technology, you can do it this way.
That's right. I prefer the paper playbook. This thick. You can just stack it in there.
Give me that massive thing.
Sleep on it. Okay. Baker Mayfield got traded to Carolina during our offseason, the Fold and the Cheese offseason. So he is supposed to be their new starter. Apparently, they're splitting reps with him and Sam Darnold in camp. Baker is the new starter in Carolina. I think this isn't like a huge deal, but it does solidify some of the other players. He's a competent quarterback, a solid quarterback, maybe even a good quarterback. Not a great quarterback, maybe a good quarterback. But he's certainly better than Sam Dumbass. So I think he'll be an upgrade for DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, for that matter, even though they got off on the wrong foot. Robbie Anderson's like, no, don't come here.
He just says no. But I was just reading. So technically, Darnold, I mean, I guess Rule hasn't declared who QB1 is yet, but Darnold's been with the first team and Baker's been with the second team. But I guess Baker's just dropping dimes.
They're splitting reps. From what I've heard, they split reps. And it was just stupid. You want a new quarterback to a new system to get as many reps with this team as he can. So it's ridiculous that you're going to try and create this little competition. Like, everyone has seen Sam Darnold play. I think everyone in the world knows, you're not the starter anymore, bro.
I think Matt Rule is just kind of being nice that he just doesn't want to murder Sam Darnold's confidence, like just as a human being.
The kid's already murdered his own confidence
about the boyvert dominating in life and all that. Like, I just feel like Sam Darnold just keeps getting crapped on. He's like, let's just give him like a little slimmer. Just give him something. Throw him the smallest of bones.
He craps on himself. Like he's like, I've seen ghosts out there. I was scared. I was like, what are you talking about, dude? I don't know. He'll be fine. Again, he's making good money. He'll be fine. And then the last thing we saw this past weekend was that Julio headed to Tampa Bay.
Yep.
I'm not excited about this for any reason, because he was in Tennessee last year and he was total garbage.
He was.
I don't know if it says anything about Chris Godwin's health. Apparently, he's not going to be on the PUP list to start camp. So there's a chance Godwin doesn't miss time. I think we'd heard earlier in the spring and summer that Godwin's likely going to miss a decent amount of time. They brought in Russell Gage. So I don't know
Like
what it's going to mean. We'll get to it when we cover the Bucks, but
I know what it's going to mean. It just
not
means
thrilling.
Tommy Boy's going to have another freaking target to go off on. It's like when they sign Antonio Brown, like you get him cheap on the dollar. It's just like, damn it, man. I was really pulling for the Patriots to get him. Well, one, I really wanted Allen Robinson on the Patriots. I thought that would have been an amazing fit. I think reclamation project just for himself to prove himself. Didn't get him. So I was like, all right, long shot. Give us Julio. You know, he was garbage last year. We'll take him. Give us something because we have no big names. Devontae Parker. All right. But no, once again, I just think this is just a smart move by the Bucks. I know we're going to talk about it later, but it's just like one of those, damn it, man. Like really, all right. Damn it.
Yeah, Tom Brady now gets one of the greatest receivers in the league history, really. I used to hold out for OBJ. I mean, maybe the Patriots will make a move there.
Fine. I'll take it.
He's in better shape than Julio.
Yes.
What do you say we dig into these previews?
Let us do that, my friend. So
let's do it.
We are doing some previews of some divisions coming up. So we figured we're going to start at really, the most competitive divisions, the ones that everyone's clamoring about. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't know who's going to win top to bottom. Like these divisions are spectacular. So
think of Mahomes, think of Herbert, think
Russell
of
Wilson,
Russell Wilson. Think of that kind of competition is what we're talking about here. Yeah.
So we decided to start with the NFC North because holy crap,
it's going to be a barn burner.
It will be. So I guess we're going to start off with the Packers, who kind of ran away with the division. So last year, as you see, they were 13-4. They finished first in the North. So we're just going to talk about a couple key additions, key departures, and just kind of what we see as their keys to success, if you will. So Kemp, why don't you get us started?
Yeah. So the additions is what everyone has been kind of looking for, because the big departure, as you'll see, Devontae Adams, obviously. Oh dear God, why? He goes to the Vegas, to the Raiders, and now all of a sudden the Packers have no one to throw the ball to. You're looking at Randall Cobb, who's like 50. You've got Alan Lazard, who's a third receiver on most teams, who I actually like. I think he's a solid
he's
player.
He's ready for wide receiver one. He's right.
Yeah, that's what Rodgers is saying.
That's what he's saying.
Good for him. They even lost Equanimous St. Brown. So any other name they had that you thought you knew, pretty much gone.
Scantling, Marquez Van Scantling.
Valdez Scantling's gone, So, I mean, they have no receiver room left. So they draft these two kids, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. Watson's already injured. He's already hurt. Not practicing. So, like, he's not getting reps with Rodgers. That's not good. Romeo, from what I've read, it sounds like he's impressed in camp, but he doesn't have a lot of pedigree either.
It's Nevada.
He's out of Nevada. Yeah, he's out of Nevada, and Watson's out of North Dakota State. So, again, we kind of theorized about this after the draft episode, but like, I wonder if there's anything to this about not drafting big university player. I mean, Fresno State for Devontae, if there's something about not drafting huge university pedigree players and Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if there's a combo there or not, but kind of interesting.
I mean, I guess so Watson was in the second round, correct?
He was the very top of it.
Okay,
still or the end round. Or the very end of the first, maybe. But he was.
No, I feel like he was second. So anyway, the reason I say that is obviously they're paying Aaron Rodgers $200 million a year to play for the Packers. So it's like, dude, they got no money left, so you can't wait, or you can't give them first round money. It's like, we got to wait till the second round to get a receiver, so we can't pay these guys.
I suppose it's true. Yeah, I think they got 2 defensive players in the first round.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's fair. But I also think there were other guys out there that had a bigger name for themselves that they passed on, but whatever, it doesn't matter. They like him for some reason. So and we're not NFL scouts or GMs or whatever. We should be. Damn it,
we should be.
But he's gonna be throwing the ball to Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson and Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard, and maybe they make a move on OBJ at some point, but he's not gonna be ready to start the season anyway. So you don't know. There was a lot of buzz about Julio. That didn't happen. So I think for this year, I'm obviously most interested in the running backs.
I was just going to say the same thing.
I think all the receivers are flyers at this point, and you'll be able to get them late. So Alan Lazard could be the number one. Honestly, he's still going to be like an 8th to 10th round kind of guy, and that could end up being a huge value if he is like, he's not going to be Devontae Adams, but even if he's like 1,000 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns, but he gets like 85 catches. I mean, that'd be a great year.
That's like a Michael Pittman kind of year. I mean, if you would take Michael Pittman.
I did take Michael Pittman. I love Michael Pittman. Yeah, I would be down for that. So, That's probably what you're looking at for their number one, whoever it ends up being, or it could just be a total wasteland spread it out everywhere. Rodgers is
Right.
going to get his. It's hard to imagine how he's going to be a top 5 guy with this crew, but he's going to get his somehow, some way or another. Top 15 probably.
He'll find it. He'll figure out a way. He always
Yeah,
does. But I mean, I think you hit on it. I'm really interested to see in the backfield between Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. I mean, on a different team, AJ Dillon could be the guy. Like
yeah.
he could be a 3-down back. He's a bruiser. So, but I mean, Aaron Jones brings a good aspect to the game as well. So I think key to the success is gonna honestly, they might be more of a running team this year. Obviously, with the big weapon Devontae gone, he'll be spreading it out, giving people chances. But that running game, man, I think that's going to be a huge key to where they can, maybe switch their philosophy a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
It seemed like LaFleur really wanted to run the ball more when he first came to Green Bay, and there was a little bit of tension there with Rodgers, who's like, "Dude, I'm the man. Let me do my thing."
I'm a man.
But now I'm sure
I'm
Rodgers is like,
M40.
"No, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. We'll just hand it off." And also, he's got this big fat paycheck, so he's probably, God, think paying the guy that much money to hand the ball off.
True.
Yikes. Sam Darnold could do that. So just saying.
So you're
Just
saying
saying.
make a swap?
Make a swap. Put Sam Darnold in there.
Pennies on the dollar.
So I think the Packers will be competitive again. They always will. Their defense will be really good. I think they're still probably a playoff team, but they are not going to be 13-4. I don't see that unless their running game is that dominant that people just can't. Like, I don't know if their O-line is that dominant to just run all over people. Maybe.
And remember, they can't. But maybe it's better if they don't have like a 13-4 year because they can't win a playoff game at home anyway. So
That's true.
Let them go on the road.
So true.
Let them go on the road.
Let's move on to division rivals, the Vikings. The big news in Minnesota. Not so much on the player and personnel stands.
Yeah, right. Like, let's just look at this real quick. A little side by side. Key departures, none. Okay.
None, really?
Division. Head coach, I guess.
So their head coach is actually pretty buzzy because he was Sean McVay's offensive coordinator with the Rams.
Right.
And so anybody attached to McVay at this point is that new young gun, bringing the fire. People are excited about it. So there's a lot of buzz about what the offense is going to look like. It's boosted Kirk Cousins' stock value, who was already, honestly, a really steady, like top 12 to 15 quarterback. He flew under the radar forever. He's always there, really steady. But it obviously, Justin Jefferson is the man on this team, even more so than Dalvin Cook, I'd say. And so this is about Justin Jefferson. It's going to be his time to absolutely light it up, I think, this year. You got Thielen, you got KJ Osborne still. Irv Smith is back from an injury, tight end. So I think they're going to be kind of exciting this year.
They lost Kyle Rudolph, though. I guess I could have put that as a key departure.
You know what? That is a key departure. He's now a Buck as well.
Right? Once again, it's like one of those signings. It's like, God, they just smart. But, it's interesting. For the past few years, everyone's always been buzzing about the Vikings defense, and Zimmer's like this defensive guru and all the. And the defense sucked. And it's just, there was just so many holes. So, and now, of course, you get the new Sean McVay Jr. And so everyone's all hyped up about the offense. So something's got to deliver. And you hope that it's going to be that this year. As you said, it's got to run through Justin Jefferson. I mean, he has a great running mate in Adam Thielen. So, I mean, that's a perfect scenario for both of them. I mean, but then as you mentioned, Dalvin Cook, his health is going to be the biggest thing. So Vikings fans, I will do you a favor. I will not draft Dalvin Cook, okay? Because
you've been burned too many times.
I have. It's like your monster, but to a much higher extent and much worse degree.
Much more severe. It's like an 8th round guy. You're just like your 1st round pick every year, and it just burns you.
It burns. And so Vikings fans, as I said, take note. Even if I have like the 4th pick and 5th pick and he's there, I'm not taking him no matter what. So have faith in that. He will be healthy all year. You're welcome.
I think enough people, and I've done a couple of mocks, and I did a slow best ball draft over the summer. And I think enough people are scared off by his injury to probably bump him either toward the back end of the 1st round or maybe sometimes around the turn. And the real problem is you have to draft Alexander Mattison when you get him. Yeah. And you don't know when you're supposed to draft Madison. And so like someone out of nowhere will snake him from you. And you're like, crap. You're like, I thought I could get him in like the 11th or 12th. And someone would be like 8th round, be like, Alexander Mattison, sucker. You're like, damn it. So it's the problem with Dalvin Cook is you get screwed on his handcuffs so easily.
Well, we did the classic handcuff swap last year. I mean, it worked out for both of us. So
it did. But I was that guy. If you get Dalvin, I'm snaking Madison just to piss you off.
3rd round. Take him in the 3rd round.
And I'm going to get him for 4 to 6 games every year, and he's going to be money.
Honestly, like if you're saying Dalvin drops to the second round, just take Madison in the fourth, and like,
Yeah.
you're getting like 5 to 6 games. That's great value out of a fourth round pick because he's good when he plays.
You get a half a Dalvin for a third or fourth round instead. So much better. Yeah.
Totally worth it.
Just
Totally
jump
worth
in.
it.
All right. So what do you think? You think the Vikings better than 8-9 this year? Probably in that range again. What do you
I
think?
mean, they might steal one from the Packers just because the Packers will be a little bit down. I mean, they're still playing the Bears and the Lions twice. Yeah, let's be honest, they're a plus or minus 1 or 2 games above or below 500. So yeah, that's probably in their range. New head coach, you got to adjust to it, but maybe they'll just be the consistent, flashy offense that we've been hoping for. And again, health will be. I mean, Dalen's been hurt, Dalvin, so it's going to depend on health and whether that offense can click. So I think it's once again like 9-8, maybe 10-7.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have to put real hard numbers in there. We're not analyzing that.
Not yet.
You are, because you're over the top expert. All right, let's move
I am
on
wearing
to
a jacket.
That's true. You do have a blazer on. I think you're qualified now to predict records. Let's check out my Bears and my Justin Fields led Bears. So he needed a little bit of help after the let go of Allen Robinson. Let's see who they added. Velus Jones, Byron Pringle.
Some big names.
One name is St. Brown. Okay. But
let's be honest. The best offseason move was their departure of Matt Nagy.
God, ain't that the truth, man?
Honestly, that'll just be a shot of adrenaline in the arm. I mean, I just think the culture he was building, there's no culpability, just always pointing, like never putting it on himself. So that'll be gone. And we're going to talk about another key coach departure later on. Spoiler alert. Sorry. But yeah, I just think that's going to be huge. I mean, as we talked about last year, I was not a huge Justin Fields guy. Honestly, even though he still doesn't have a great weapon, I think he will have can you have a bounce back year from your rookie year? I don't know. He'll just have some stability. He's going to be QB1 from day one. They'll probably unleash him a little bit more, but you're right. I mean, he doesn't have a true weapon. And what we forgot to put key additions. Oh, how do we forget this? N'Keal Harry, my boy.
Did they pick up N'Keal Harry? Oh my gosh.
Traded for him.
Wow.
So here's the best part. So N'Keal Harry was a first round pick for the Patriots in 19. You know what they traded him for?
A ham sandwich and a bag of Fritos.
7th round pick.
A 7th round pick.
I would honestly rather have the ham sandwich.
Yeah. The bag of Fritos is pretty nice. So pick up a defensive minded head coach, which it doesn't like scare me for the offense. I'm just kind of like, really, you want to see what their OC is going to do, Right. But they get this guy who was the DC for the Colts last year, and he's a seasoned coach. He's been in the league for 20, 30 years, so he knows what he's doing. But he really wanted someone exciting to come in. I would have rather seen O'Connell here and see him unleash Justin Fields and be like, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, but then he saw what other weapons they had. Like, okay, not going there.
Never mind. I don't want Byron Justin Pringle Jefferson, to be my guy.
Byron Pringle.
Yeah. Tough call.
Yeah.
I'm still in on Fields, as you will find out as the season goes on. I will be in on Fields this year. And honestly, these guys are they're all kind of scrappy. They're not terrible. I thought Byron Pringle in Kansas City did a really nice job considering how crowded it was. Like, he had his moments for sure. Velus Jones is he's a mature rookie. He's 25. Everyone talks about that. He's 25-year-old rookie. He's shown flashes as well. St. Brown, he's inconsistent. I don't love that one. And N'Keal Harry doesn't do anything for me either. But another year of Cole Kmet. The running backs are good there. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens.
I guess this would be a little bit of time. Cole Kmet could be a sleeper of a tight end this year. I know people were kind of high on him last year, but he really did nothing. But, Jimmy Graham's gone. I mean, Cole Kmet is the dude. And as we always say, young quarterbacks need that dump off, that security blanket. And it's always a tight end. So Cole Kmet could be a sleeper top. Granted, tight end's a wasteland. So by saying top 7, it's not that great. But he could be up there. So Cole Kmet on my sleeper list definitely for tight end, if not offensive weapon.
Offensive weapon, sleeper of the year.
Cole Kmet. You get your Justin Fields. I'll get the Cole Kmet,
We'll get the jerseys going. No, I agree. I think Cole Kmet's going to have a good year. Top 7's probably best case for him. There are actually, I did the rankings this past weekend. There are actually 7, legit, their names kind of tight ends.
Their names.
Well, when I say that, I mean Darren Wallers of the world. These guys are real studs. Even
Who's going
Dalton
to fall
Schultz,
back this year?
even Dalton Schultz, who I think has got a more solidified role at this point. But Cole Kmet's probably top 12-ish consideration for sure, top 10, top 12.
Yeah.
I think he'll have a good year. And again, they got to throw somebody. I just think Fields is more of a downfield thrower when he can, and so they're bringing in some speed. St. Brown's got speed. Harry's got speed. Pringle's a streaker. So I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to see something out of Fields, and thank God they got a new coach that will actually let him run the ball, hopefully too.
Yeah.
Remember the game where he had like one carry for 3 yards, and you're like, he's a runner. He's a runner. He's just getting pounded in the pocket. He's like, just stand back there and throw it. And it's like,
just huck it.
Bro,
whoever's out there. It's
you
fine.
drafted this dude. You knew what you were getting.
Yeah.
I digress. A lot of time on the Bears. Let's move on.
Bears.
Let's move on to your hometown.
Oh, my hometown heroes.
The Lions. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Man. I feel like the Lions are everybody's sweetheart right now. They love Dan Campbell.
It's Dan Campbell, man. That's really what it is, because he's got the right attitude for a coach who he's got that grinded out attitude, but he's also like, we're not good, but we want to be good. And everybody here wants to be good, and we're going to keep trying. And I think people respect that.
Yeah. I mean, and again, we look at these key additions of DJ Shark. I'm just going to call him Shark. I like DJ Shark better.
Yeah.
And drafting Jameson Williams. They're basically telling Goff, I know you got 1 year left on your contract, but hey, we're giving you the pieces. Like, you got to show something. And crazy enough, the second half of the year, or even it might have been like the last 7 or 6 games, Goff was like a top 8 quarterback in terms of yardage and throwing touchdowns. And I know it was a lot of your boy Amon-Ra. So he's shown flashes that he can do it, even with not that many tools. And so they're giving him the tools now. You're going to have a healthy DeAndre Swift. You're going to have now these new key additions. So they're basically saying, okay, this is your year, put it up or shut up. And, let's see what we can do. I mean, as you see, they didn't really lose much, if anything. So they really focus on the offense. I know they seem to be doing that a lot. But Hawkinson's going to be back and healthy. They gave him another year extension because, I mean, he's a beast. So, I mean, the Lions aren't going to be that bad. They were already scrappy. They were very competitive in lots of games last year, and now they're putting their faith in Goff. He showed it towards the end of last year. So I don't know, man. I don't know if you reach for sympathy wins or whatever, but it's like, 6 wins. Is that all right?
Well, here's one nice thing about having the talent they have on offense and finishing last in your division is that you get to play last year's last place finishers in other divisions. Yeah. So the schedule is going to be soft for sure. The division itself is in some ways rebuilding. Green Bay is certainly rebuilding, and Chicago is in year 2 of a rebuild. So there's opportunity there. Yeah. I think Minnesota shouldn't have much trouble with Detroit, but to your point, like if DeAndre Swift is healthy, and part of why Goff was chucking it so much is they were down DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. I mean, they were down to like guys like Henry Johnson is running the ball, like random people like that
for like the Detroit running back position.
They asked. Yeah. I had a hangnail. I couldn't do it at that time, but they did ask if I wanted to run the ball. And so they were giving it to like Craig. I want to say Craig Ferguson or Craig Robinson. It was Craig something generic. And I was like, good grief, who are these people? So they had to check it a little bit more, but they also wanted to see what they had with Amon-Ra. And then Hawkinson was injured a little bit too. So like, it's a bit of a mess, but you're right. I mean, I think Goff got more comfortable. They let him throw the ball more. He's got more weapons this year. Jameson Williams probably won't be ready to start the season, but he is a baller when he's healthy. So when he's back second half of the year, this team can really open it up. If DeAndre Swift is healthy, I think he's gonna have a monster year.
Yeah.
I agree. I think they'll be better. I'm going 13-3-1. I'm just gonna reverse those numbers.
Just the old flip.
Yeah. Just 13-3-1.
Pop quiz. 1. What was the 1? Do you remember?
Pittsburgh.
Yep. Can you name the 3?
Oh God. I don't think so.
I know 1 was the Cardinals.
Oh jeez. Second half slump.
Yeah. Oh crap.
I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't name the other 2. Was one? That's why I can't remember if it was the Bears or not. But anyway. Probably. All right. So Kemp, we just did the NFC North powerhouse. So
let's move to another powerhouse.
Sticking with the powerhouse theme. Who are we going with?
Tighten up, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
The AFC South. Yeah.
So what's funny is like last year, Green Bay obviously was like the 1 seed, right, for the NFC, and the Titans were the 1 seed for the AFC.
Yeah.
And these 2 divisions this year seem like a dumpster fire. Compared to like all of their divisions, I think like the AFC South has got maybe a little more action going because you got the Titans and the Colts, but barely. I'd give it a slight edge over the NFC North. But at the same time, these are our home teams too. So it's kind of fun to cover these two divisions. The Titans are going to look quite different. Quite different.
Very different.
They made the biggest splash in the draft when they traded away A.J. Brown, really surprisingly, and then drafted who they called his replacement, exact clone, Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. I don't know, yet to be seen.
Yeah.
That's the big news. Julio Jones is gone, as we mentioned earlier. And I say Deontay Foreman's gone too from a key departure. He wasn't like a huge player, but when Henry was hurt,
He's serviceable, man.
he really came on and looked really good, actually.
Yeah.
And so you got rid of him. Now, they did draft Hassan Haskins, who's getting no buzz whatsoever out of Michigan. But I tell you what, I watched the kid play in college.
Are you a big fan of him?
I'm a fan of him. He split the backfield. They had two running backs that both got like 50-50 share in Michigan.
Well, they had like 5 running backs in Michigan. You talked to one Kyle Seeger. He's like, what? Just choose one guy. They
had two main guys, but they had a bunch of talent, right?
Yeah.
Haskins was the thumper. He's the bruiser, man. And that's why I like him in Tennessee, because it's like, again, if Henry gets hurt, he's got the right build, at least, and running style to potentially try and be like, half the size of Derek's shoes. Yeah, no one replaces Derrick Henry at this point in his career, but that's your best attempt, and I don't hate that. Now, the Titans picked up Robert Woods, which I thought was a really great pickup. I think he is super solid as a number 2 receiver typically, but I think he can be an okay number 1. He'll be bottom half number 1, but I think he'll be really solid for them.
But here's what he also brings. Like everyone at the Rams organization just raved about him as a teammate, just as a competitor. I mean, he had such a renaissance in his career I want to say LA, but it's almost St. Louis. Because he was drafted by the Bills, coming out of he was USC, right? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, once again, those big name receivers coming out of USC, goes to Buffalo. He was like, okay. He just never lived up to that hype. But then goes to the Rams, and man, he had a great career there. And honestly, if you're losing AJ Brown, you're not going to fill his shoes. Robert Woods is a great pickup. I mean, obviously he's coming off the ACL it was ACL or Achilles one. It was ACL.
ACL.
And he's obviously coming off that injury, but that's a guy. He's going to be solid. He's going to be consistent. He can be relied on. So that's good for Tannehill. Once again, you fill in another tight end, which we always say is a good safety valve. Austin Hooper is a solid pickup. He kind of has dropped off from his bigger years, but it's a good pickup. I mean, they made some solid additions. They weren't like wowing everybody. Maybe the Robert Woods was probably the splashiest one, but yeah, they're just solid all around.
I think Austin Hooper is a massive upgrade in the tight end room for the Titans, who were throwing out Anthony Firkser and Pruitt. These people were not stud tight ends by any stretch. Now, Hooper, to your point, has dropped off a bit, but he was like a top 3 tight end 2 years in a row in Atlanta.
He was
the guy
big in
can
Atlanta.
play, all right? So he goes to the tight end wasteland in Cleveland. You can never figure it out with a tight end.
David
Njoku can't figure it out. So he goes there and does nothing, and you're like, oh, he's done. I'm like, I don't know that. I don't think so necessarily. Right. Give the guy an option. Like, this is a very tight end friendly offense. Mm-hmm. This is a running offense and play action, and Tannehill loves to hit the tight end and play action. And so your receivers are not often going deep. And so again, Robert Woods streaking over the middle is really good. You run slants, you run crossers, a post. Like, those are the kind of patterns I think the Titans win on a lot. A dig or an out route or something. Like, you don't need like everyone running flies or double moves or anything. This is play action. It's quick, and the Titans get a lot of action here. So I think Austin Hooper will be far and away the best tight end they've had, at least since Jonnu Smith left, but maybe since Delaney Walker left.
Jonnu Smith is a swear word up in New England right now.
So Jonnu Smith was great here. I don't know what they're doing with him in New England, but he's actually turned into a total blocker up there, which he's been very effective, but he's not doing much on offense.
No.
But Austin Hooper, I think, is actually a really good pickup for them.
Yeah. Now, once again, it could be one of those guys who you think he's down, and then, hey, remember me? I'm still good. So no, that's a great pickup. So real quick, would you say this key to success is still through the run game and AJ Henry and Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I think it depends on his health. I mean, he came back at the end of the year after he'd broken his foot. He played in the playoff game.
So I'm going to cut you off. So that's my question.
Yeah.
Do you lighten his workload because you're worried about that foot? Like, I mean, I know this guy is a horse. He is the thing. He is the whole combined, like a freaking bulldozer. But clearly showed that injury. Do you worry about that? Do you have to lighten that workload?
I don't know the answer, and I haven't heard enough Mike
Right.
Vrabel. And he wouldn't give you the answer anyway, but I haven't heard a lot of interviews on him recently. But I don't know that you want to do a 15 carry a game, Derrick Henry, because part of his success is him wearing down the defense.
Sure.
And you could say like, well, you could let someone else wear down the defense and then bring him in. But I think some of it he also kind of needs to get going. He needs to get some contact to start feeling okay. I've still got juice. I've still got juice. I don't know. I don't know if it's always like second half success is insane for this guy. I
Sure.
don't know if it's because the
So,
defense is worn down because he's been beating him up, or if he's
right.
getting better. You know, some running backs are like rhythm guys; they need reps to really get going. If he's that guy, then you can't limit his workload. If it's just a matter of wearing down the defense, then yeah, you could rest him more in the first half and let him come out in the second half and thump on people. But to be fair, that doesn't work if you're trailing. So you've also got to stay ahead in the game in order to run the ball in the second half. So like it's a catch 22 a little bit. You really 22, Derrick Henry. You really kind of got to let him fly. I think you just got to let it go and see what happens. And you got to just know running backs have a short shelf life anyway,
Right.
and he could get hurt again. And hopefully Haskins can step in, and some other guys they've got can step in and take over if he does.
Okay. So is he your running back one? Is he the first running back coming off the board?
No, I think he's probably in the 3 to 5 range. I think Jonathan Taylor is younger, fresher, and is the focal point of his offense. I think you got to go with him. And I think McCaffrey still, if he's healthy, he's still on everybody's, just what he gives you. He's still the guy. But Henry's in. I could take Henry at 2 if I wanted. I could take him 3 or 4 for running backs.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's still that top 5 guy. I really do.
All right. Well, speaking of one Jonathan Taylor, who we got after the Titans, my man? Oh, that's right, the Colts. You did that on purpose.
The choky Colts who blew it to
God.
the Jaguars and couldn't make it into the playoffs last year. That was
So
fun.
so fun. I mean, again, I'm a Patriots guy, so I've always had that rivalry with the Peyton Manning led Colts. So I do always have a soft spot when they choke. But honestly, last year I was pulling for them just because they were a fun, wild team to watch. Because they had, very big aspirations at the beginning of the year. Then obviously Jonathan Taylor was just something else. But then just to kind of choke it away like that still held a little place in my heart. Like, nice.
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 Would love to see it. I know you're not a big Carson Wentz fan either, so you probably loved to see him choke specifically. He is now gone. That was a 1 year, one and done experiment.
But honestly, like, I don't have much against Carson Wentz because he didn't play in that Super Bowl. So I'm like,
That's true.
nah, whatever.
That's true.
But Carson Wentz was a stud for me in the 2 weeks I had to play him last season.
He did have a couple weeks of usability. That's true.
Right. So he did great for me. He got me like 28 points. I was like, hey, it was one of those wild.
But hey, thankfully for you, he's been replaced by your boyfriend, Matt Ryan.
The fold in the cheese
in
goat.
College, Matt Ryan.
The goat of folding the cheese of our do it bet. Yes, Matt Ryan, stud. I'm telling you, man. I know this is just going to sound lame and bad. Do not sleep on Matt Ryan this year.
I got to tell you, this is going to be breaking news for the podcast. I'm actually with you. Don't sleep on him this year. I feel so much better about him in this situation.
Yes, he's in a much better situation than your Falcons of last year. He's got your boy Tate. I mean, he's going to have finally an established running game. He's going to have some weapons on offense. I mean, that was a great move for them. Granted, it's their 5th QB in 5 years, but can you name them? Quick, name the 5.
I was going to say Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, now Matt Ryan, Jacoby Brissett, and Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck retired. I guess it was
that counted. No, that was 5 years. So there it is.
Okay, boom.
Well done. Good
How
job.
about that?
So I don't know. I know it's been a different quarterback each year, but this was a savvy move. I think it's similar to the Phillip Rivers, but I think Matt Ryan has a slightly longer shelf life, like maybe a couple of years left.
I think he's got more gas in the tank than Rivers did when he made this move.
Yeah. So, hey, I just think it's a good move. It's not splashy by any means, but it's smart. And I think it could pay huge dividends. So I think that'll be fun to watch.
Matt Ryan is less unpredictable.
Yes.
Like he's more predictable than Carson Wentz, who could ball out in given moments, and he could also completely choke a game away for you.
Yes.
And while Matt Ryan has one of the biggest chokes in NFL history with that Super Bowl, He's not typically like a total choke artist.
No.
He's a very solid quarterback.
Although
he makes good decisions.
He almost did choke away my do it bet board last year in the last like
That's
4
true.
weeks. I was like,
well, one of his receivers was gambling on NFL games. And the other one went to the Titans. He was like, "Get me out of this place." He had a receiver running the ball for them. He had a rookie tight end, which never balls out. So I don't know. I just don't blame him on that. The Colts have a very good offensive line. They have potentially the best run game in the NFL, which helps the quarterback with play action a ton and softens the. If they load up the box, and you get a softened secondary. It's like he's in a great situation for a quarterback, and he's got a young stud in Michael Pittman, who I just love.
You love
and
him.
This new guy, Alec Pierce, they draft in the second round, looks really good as well. I don't know. I think it's a great spot for him. I agree. He's got a big tight end, and they drafted another big tight end too. So
he did lose his tight end, Jack Doyle, but
he lost Jack Doyle.
Here's the big problem: they did also add Nick Foles. So watch out for that quarterback controversy. That QB room, man.
You know it.
Watch out.
Watch out. It's a great move. It was a great move on his part. So I'm happy for him. I hate to see it in the Colts, and I never hate Matt Ryan. It's tough for me to hate Matt Ryan. I just always thought he's just like a really solid guy.
You hated
even when he was at BC and had to play Wake Forest. When I lived in Atlanta, saw him around the city, and then of course now with the Colts, as much as I don't want the Colts to win, like I do like Matt Ryan. Okay, so
did you literally just say you saw him around? Like you legitimately saw him? Like, hey, there's Matt Ryan.
I did see Matt Ryan once in Atlanta in like a Target randomly. And I was like, Matt Ryan shops at Target. No, I'm not kidding. I saw him at Target in street clothes.
If you say he was in the dollar aisle,
he was in the bargain bins. He was fishing around the bargain bins. He was trying to get some of those little maze puzzles that you move around and the little metal ball.
The ball goes through.
Yeah, falls around there. That's right.
Like
that's
dog
right.
Notepads. The Target dog.
The Target dog notepad. It's the spot. Yeah. I did see him in Target, but no, I more meant like you see him in the city, like doing things in the city.
No, you literally meant
the proverbial you see him around.
Matt, there. Oh,
hey, there he is. What up, Matty?
Anyway, all right, moving on. Who got after the Colts?
The Texans. Boom, boom, boom.
Your division is so bad.
The Texans.
It is
I know.
So bad.
It drops off real fast.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is pretty ugly. So this is the second year of the Davis Mills show. We'll see what happens there. Your boy, Davis Mills. You love him. You love
second best rookie quarterback. Second best rookie quarterback.
I think he's actually fairly solid. They are still in contention for the Jimmy Garoppolo sweepstakes. So there's a chance he ends up down there. Won't probably impact the offense a ton, but he's a steadier hand than the second-year guy, I guess. But I don't know. I like Davis Mills just fine. Their running back room is totally different at this point, but it was different last year too. They picked up Marlon Mack from the Colts, who had to miss all of last year. He had an Achilles injury. Yep. I don't know how that's going to go. I think he was a solid runner, but like, I don't know. I don't know if that's your answer. He's getting up there in age. He's coming off of a bad injury. I'm not sure.
Is David Johnson I think still alive?
I think David Johnson is now selling insurance somewhere, or is a
State Farm
preacher or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you should do those State Farm commercials with Jake. They draft this kid Damian Pierce out of Florida, who looks like a beast. He's got a little bit of a Marshawn Lynch in him, actually. He's a beast, but he's also crowded backfield kind of thing. In Florida, you didn't get to see him a ton, but when you did, he's a monster. So he's the buzzy name in the backfield. I think people are talking about what's going to happen with him. I think they're going to let Marlon Mack start the season as a starter, give him the veteran nudge, and see what Pierce does in training camp and in the preseason and all that. But probably a matter of time before Damian Pierce is the name you want to know here.
Okay.
And then John Mechie, I think we all heard about this. Really sad, but hopeful as well. They draft John Mechie. He was just a great college receiver out of Alabama. He was diagnosed with a form of leukemia that he is called the most treatable form of leukemia, which is really good to hear. Hate to see anybody go through that, but he did say basically, I'm not playing this season. So really hope he gets better, and I can't wait to see what he does in the league. Okay. Key departure there is obviously Deshaun Watson. Didn't play last year anyway, but not even part of the team, which in some ways is great because there's no more drama. There's no more
he's out.
You don't have to worry about it. It's just completely clean slate with that whole situation.
That question mark is gone. It's just get it out.
It was so like will they won't they all year with him last year. So that's just one less thing for them to worry about. They can focus on the team they have. I think Brandon Cooks is the dude for sure. And
he was
he is
solid. I mean,
he's the least sexy, solid top 15 receiver you're gonna get.
I ate my words every time we were talking about Brandon Cooks. I was like, this dude, like, no, he's not gonna be good. No one's gonna be. He's a
stud, man.
He was like a hidden gem that probably won people a lot of championships just because you got him late, if at all. You just pick him up, and you could legitimately put him as wide receiver 3 or flex and be golden. So,
yep. He was so incredibly solid. And he's been on so many different teams. He's always been solid, right? So it's like the same story every year.
But like, why? Like, he's like, so he's great on Saints. Obviously, had Drew Brees on to him. Patriots trade for him. Had a great year. Got his bell rung in the Super Bowl. So kind of got screwed in the job there. So they trade him. Like, because we traded him to the Rams. And then, he's on the Texans now. It's just wild where he's been going.
Yep. He was receiver 16 last year.
See?
And he had 10 weeks of double digits, which is like a super high percentage. I mean, he's just rock solid. He is a 8 for 80 or a 7 for 70 guy pretty consistently.
Yeah.
Kind of like the old like Jarvis Landry used to be when he had those couple of really great years where you're like, I just know he's gonna be rock solid in PPR. This is a top 15 guy.
But which is kind of weird because I feel like early on in his career, he was always the deep threat. So it'd be like 4 for 90 or like 3 for 82. But now he's getting more of the receptions in general, which again in PPR is huge. So again,
he's still got that speed. He can still rip it open. But
yeah,
I agree.
All right, Brandon. Good for you.
Great job, Brandon. Okay, let's move on to the basement of the AFC South and the real of the entire league as well. The Jaguars.
The Jaguars. So obviously the biggest addition or departure, which is departing by adding or adding by departing, is Urban Meyer. You gone. Like, my God. I know we talked about it so much last year, but just like hearing the stories coming out in the offseason and just what the dumpster fire was, and just how toxic of a culture. I love that the kicker is suing him now. The best. Like, that's spectacular.
That was awesome. He kicked the guy during pre-games.
You kicked your kicker, like, in the foot.
I wouldn't kick a kicker. Like, those guys can kick, dude. I wouldn't want any part of that.
Back.
They'd kick you right in the face. Knock you
right
out.
How much I can extend my leg.
Yeah. Have you seen my leg up? Yeah.
So, yes, obviously Urban's gone. I love in the bring in Doug Peterson. I feel like that's a great fit. It's the same kind of colorish with that tealish green.
That's true.
Kind of.
That's right.
He's just like a high energy guy, like a Dan Campbell kind of thing. So
he's a former quarterback. Listen, this is Trevor Lawrence move. That's why they do it. He's a former quarterback in the league, and he's gonna be great for Trevor Lawrence. And they're like, man, we didn't see much out of him last year, and we can't blame him because he had Urban. So let's give him a quarterback who is a quarterback friendly coach. This guy's a veteran coach. He's been around the league. He's done well. For the most part, I mean, he's rock solid. I think this will be a very stabilizing hire as well, which they needed. Yeah, so this is really good for them.
Yeah, but then you look at the departures. Obviously, they lost DJ and their wide receiver core, and James Robinson going down last year in the Achilles. He's not going to be ready by the beginning of the year. So I don't see how you can be ready from Achilles when what was it, like week 11?
It was late. That's a full 12 months
year,
at least. Typically.
I just can't see him coming back, especially when they got ETN, who is, I put him in additions just because we didn't see him at all last year because of his injury. Yep. So, I mean, I can't imagine a world, especially if ETN is doing well. You ain't going to see James Robinson.
I agree. I'm not sure that ETN has the build to be a 3-down, every down back kind of guy.
But I would love to see it. Ball out the backfield, like that's gonna be huge. Obviously,
he's definitely a third down back, and I think he can be like a second and third. But like, can he run every? Maybe it's not 3 downs the wrong phrase. Like, can he run every possession? like every series, or is he's gonna alternate? And maybe it's 2-1, him and James Robinson, or him and whoever else. Daria Agunbowale is also gone. Yeah, so he's gone too. So I don't know who their next guy up is, but. Maybe it's Laviska Shenault. I don't know. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure the ATN can carry every series. He's not. There's only a few guys like that in the league anymore, and so maybe that doesn't matter. But
I just feel like he's a cool Swiss Army knife kind of guy to have, and especially with the connection he already has with Lawrence. I mean, he could. I
love him as a player. I loved him in college. He hella productive in college.
Yeah.
And he and Trevor are best buddies. So I think he's a really good player. And I'd love to see him. Honestly, I would love to see it if he
Just
could
want to
make
see what
it.
he can do.
If he can get 20, 25 touches a game. I don't
Yeah.
know that he'll do it, but he could. And he could end up surprising us and be more like a DeAndre Swift. You know, maybe kind of similar to that, where granted he's a little bit injury prone or injury ridden, but he can handle the workload. He's bulked up enough, whatever. So maybe he comps out more like that.
But this was his first true injury, wasn't? I mean, he wasn't hurt in Clemson at all.
No, not that I remember.
Yeah.
No, so. I don't mean that he's injury prone. Swift is seemingly injury prone.
Oh, yes.
But
I mean any Detroit running back is injury prone.
Listen, if I was running back in Detroit, I would sit down for a few games too. I'll be like, oh, my knee. Oh, man. I got that's going to be
a blister.
4 to 6 weeks. I'm out.
4 to 6. Just give me a break. Just please.
So you can't blame him there.
What do you think about them giving quite the contract to Christian Kirk?
It's a bit of a gamble. I mean, I liked him as a number 2 in Arizona. I thought he was a really solid player. I'm not even sure he's going to be the number 1. I guess you pay him that kind of money, he's got to be. But I don't know. They've still got Marvin Jones there. Laviska Shenault's there. They brought in Zay Jones as well. They got 2 tight ends. They got Evan Ingram. Zay Jones down the stretch was great last year. Again, when Jaron Waller was out, he was like a 6 for 60 every game. If you needed a plug and play, he was solid.
You did a couple times in daily fantasy. You had your boy Zay cheap.
Oh, he was great DFS. He was like $3,000 and he gets you 15 points.
Steal.
Money in the bank. Listen, they all have their own utility. It just depends on what you're playing, you know?
True.
There's a seat for every ass. That's what you used to say.
Wow. There's a seat for every ass. We'll take that. That's fair. Wow. Okay. So we did the powerhouses of the NFC North and the AFC South. So we're only to go downhill from here. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I don't even know that we care about the rest of the divisions, honestly, but
no,
I guess we'll cover them for everybody.
I guess. Wow. Okay. So yeah. So we're going to be doing division previews for the next couple of weeks as we get closer to the season. As we said, officially football month. So that's great. From here until February, we're going to have months of football. So that's great. Glad to have it back. Yeah. Kemp, it's good to get back in the saddle too. It's really good.
Yeah, man. This is pretty fun. I like the video too. You guys need to hook it up. We need likes and subscribes. What do? Do we do like give us a thumbs up if you want to see more content? Here. Click the button here.
I feel like we got to learn how to do that. Click here.
Yeah, we don't know how to do it, but I do know there's a little bell underneath this video. So go click that to subscribe to our content.
I feel like I have this big white door. That's perfect to put the button. Like subscribe.
Dude, even I know there's a bell to subscribe. And I call it the YouTube.
The tube of views?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do we know? No. It's going to be a surprise who we got for you coming on Thursday. So just remember that.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. But hey, I guess without further ado, as always, keep holding that cheese.
Fold it.
And now, since we have video, you get to see us rocking out to the end game. Right? Is that what we do? We're new to the video. I like it. See ya.